Next episode of the Tradepreneur Show is part 2 of the last episode, where we showed you how to maximize your opportunity when in the hole with a customer. Now we're going to talk about what inside the organization has to do. Dispatch, this one's for you. Check it out. Welcome back to the Tradepreneur Show. This is episode 2 of our 2-part special where we're talking about maximizing opportunity and how to continue to keep customer satisfaction up and callbacks down when the heat is on. Patrick Summers, your host, co-host again, Tanya Priest, who actually, this episode we're going to be talking about dispatch and call center, right? The things that have to happen there. And you kind of bring a special element to that because you manage the call center and you've also been a dispatcher, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so one of the challenges, the thing that can really screw things up, and dispatch, first let me acknowledge it. Being a dispatcher is not an easy role. I've always said that a dispatcher or dispatching is part science, part art, and a whole lot of voodoo magic, all right? You have to be doing a lot of things at one time. And you have to be paying attention to a lot of different metrics. You have to know where technicians are, not only where they are in the day and what call they're on, you need to know where they are in that call, right? Are they in the beginning of the call? Are they in the middle of the call, the end of the call? Or is that call going to extend because the customer just went with repair recommendations and the technician's going to need another hour? All the things you're going to need to know. There's a lot. So I think probably one of the most underrated roles in an organization is dispatch. And it's one of the hardest to fill, and it takes a very unique individual. There's pushback as well because the technicians are pushing back because you're pushing them, and you have to push them. But I want to kind of flip that on its side a little bit. And to flip that on its side, you have to approach this with fresh eyes. That maybe our job's not to push them to get to the next call. Maybe our job is to really help them maximize the call they're on. And then that brings in another element, the call center, taking the calls, right? They have a responsibility to book calls using the right system, knowing whether we should get to in the next hour, the next 3 hours, that day, the next day, 3 days from now, or sorry, we're not going to be able to get to you for at least a week. I know that's like, that causes like a very uncomfortable, painful feelings for many CSRs, but that's one of the things that has to happen. So there's this whole dynamic that has to happen. Now, many organizations, especially smaller organizations, Tanya, you can relate to this. The call center is the same as dispatch.
That's right.
Right? And you might have one person taking a call, and then in the next moment dispatching a call. Where of those CSRs, one's primarily dispatching. But if that dispatcher happens to take a call and a technician's calling in for his next call.
Tech crew's on the back end.
Well, yeah. And then the
call.
The CSR is now the dispatcher.
Right.
Right. So then you start to separate those roles. You really separate, okay, this is dispatch, this is CSR, as your organization grows. However, they're typically still managed by the same person in many instances, right? And we've done that for years. And it's challenging because there's 2 train of thoughts going on, right? This is how I look at it. Tanya, tell me without using physical abuse if I'm wrong here. But the CSR's job is to take the call and get the call on the board, get it booked. Now, get it booked for the appropriate window of time. They have to know whether we're getting into this today or we're getting to this 3 days from now or whatever it may be. So their job is to say yes, take calls, right? The dispatcher's job is to get the right technician to those calls in the right time.
Correct. Totally 2 different roles.
Correct. And so the dispatcher may be like, hey, listen, we're good. No more calls today. Right?
Right.
Now, there is some conflict there, a healthy conflict, because what do you do, Tanya? Let's just throw this scenario out there. Tanya, it's a hot summer day, the board is packed. You got more calls than you can handle. Right now, everybody's going into overtime, right? We've got calls that are scheduled 7 o'clock at night, whatever it may be. And I'm not talking just a couple of calls, but every call. Let's say it's the first day it gets super hot. You know how those are, right? It hasn't adjusted, it hasn't mellowed out yet. And dispatch or somebody in management says, okay, look, we're done. We can't take any more calls. And then the phone rings and somebody has a 15-year-old system that's not cooling. And they say, look, I've been putting this off, but I know it's probably time to replace.
Do you take that call?
So how do you take that call if you're not taking any more calls because you're out of calls?
We just got to triage the calls that are on the board. So something like that, where the system's down, only system in the home, it's 15 years old, they know it's going out. That's like our next call that we're going on.
And then, so does that mean you cancel or reschedule a call?
If need be, we have. I mean, we've also, had to reschedule if it's not one of our members and it's just somebody else installed the system. They're out of air conditioning. It was triaged for 2 days out.
So club members obviously take priority. That's one of the benefits of it,
yes.
right? So that's where it gets hard. Is what do you do? Who do you tell or say, hey, you don't get to eat today, right? Essentially. Although with that said, would you agree that when you look at the board and you start going through calls, you'll find calls that have no business being ran that day?
Yes, absolutely. Like a maintenance.
Correct. Or a maintenance of a system that we didn't put in is 2 years old.
Right.
Right. We want the opportunity to make that person a very happy client of ours, and to continue to do business with. But when you have to triage, that's one that you can call and say, I have to reschedule you. Here's what's going on. Now, in doing that, do you just tell them I got to reschedule you, or do you kind of explain to them the scenario?
That's a tricky question.
Is it? Because I always thought we explained the scenario. I always thought we said, hey, Mrs. Jones, I understand you've had this appointment booked for 2 weeks. However, I hope you can appreciate that we came into some extreme heat. It's 110 degrees out, and we are inundated with calls where people have no systems that are not operating. They're not cooling. In fact, right now we're really prioritizing the elderly and those with children and those that have single systems. And your system is 2 years old. This is a standard maintenance. Would it be okay if I rescheduled you for a week from today?
Yeah, and in most cases, the clients are fine with it.
And in some cases, you have to give something.
Oh, yeah.
And what type of things would you offer a client for the inconvenience? Like airlines, what do? They either give you money. Every time I fly, I get, we're offering up to $300 for you to change your flight, like in a flight voucher things, or go on standby. So what type of things have we given or could you give?
So some things we've given is an additional maintenance visit at no additional cost to them. To say thank you for doing that. We also have gift cards that we've given out, friends and family, and $50 off of your repair, or if you renew your membership, you can utilize that gift certificate.
So, obviously, if you explain the situation in this case where you have to reschedule people, a lot of times the people are very understanding in our experience. And at times you do have to offer something up because you want to take care of the client and you want to keep them happy. So just be prepared to do that and know, here's what's really important. Let your CSRs know what they're able to give. Right.
Right.
So they don't have to ask and they don't have to put somebody on hold to figure something out. So back to our original discussion that started this about, what do you do when the board is slam packed and you don't take any more calls and that call comes in? There's terms for that. Dispatching for profits, dispatching for dollars, dispatching for service, whatever you want to call it. The reality is there's only so much capacity and it's called triage at the end of the day. So it's the same thing. Back in the last episode, I used the analogy of going to the emergency room. I've worked in emergency rooms, very familiar with the process. And And when you go into the emergency room, you go to triage. There's that nurse you go to, a ward nurse is in that first station. When you go there is triage. They take your vitals, your temperature, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your pulse, your pulse ox, all of those things. And then what is your issue? And then they triage you. So if you come in and let's say you're a young, healthy male and you have a finger that's cut, it's obviously going to need sutures. Your vitals are stable. Guess what? Unless it's not busy, you're going to go sit in the ER in a chair for quite a while. Now, the person that comes up that is in their 40s has chest pain. Where are they going? Are they going to sit in a chair?
Definitely not right away in.
They're going back, especially if the vitals support that, right? They do say, I learned this when I was in the healthcare field, the fifth vital sign or whatever is pain. Like, what's the pain threshold? So chest pain is going to get you, they're triaging. They only have so many beds. They're not going to turn you away, but you are going to have to wait based on the severity of what you have going on and based on their capacity to handle people. We're the same way, right? We're the exact same way. We have to triage based on what we're able to do and based on the demand. Now, I will tell you, I will be the first to tell you, you want to take calls, you want to maximize revenue and profitability and all that great stuff, but your greatest asset is the technicians in those trucks. It's your team. So put them first. I don't care how great the opportunity is. When someone can't safely run calls anymore, they don't run calls. There's got to be a time to stop that. And so some of the ways that you can combat the opportunity is, and what we've done is staggered shifts, right?
Yes.
So as dispatch, explain the staggered shift.
So we'd have a couple of different technicians come at different times. So you have your early morning guys, you have your midday, maybe 11 o'clock, and then you have your 1 o'clock guys. So that way we're really maximizing the whole entire day and nobody's really being pushed too far to the limits. They're running their standard calls for the summer and then they get to go home very good.
Now, some of the snafus that occur with a late tech, and I see it and it drives me crazy. It stays dark later. So when they schedule a 2-unit maintenance at 7 o'clock at night, right? Those floating techs should be either taking the non-urgent or the maintenance calls to allow the service guys to handle those. Or if they are a service guy, and there's no service calls, still taking some of those calls to get the other guys out on time. And then they should be freed up to handle anything that's coming in that's going to be run later and pick up those late calls, right?
Correct.
So obviously you got to have enough technicians on the board to do that. But I don't care if you have 3 technicians or 30 technicians. If you have 3 technicians, you can make one a late tech that comes in a little bit later. That reduces your capacity early in the day, but it extends your capacity later in the day.
Right.
Right? The last thing you want is for a technician, or I'm sorry, a homeowner to call in first thing in the morning and say, oh my gosh, I have a unit. I think it was installed by Rumpelstiltskin. It's so old and it doesn't work. And I need a new system, but I want to make sure that it's really broken. Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. We'll have a technician out between 8 and 10 o'clock tonight. Right?
Right.
It's like, huh? What? Squeeze me? Kumquat said what? And so what you want to do is you want to have a technician that can run that call right away. Now, if you've already got 2 technicians that are coming in and you're staggering one later, well, guess what? That later technician is now free to handle that call when it comes in, right? Even though it might be later, it's not as late as the end of the day. The other technique that should be used along with that is what we call a float tech.
Right.
Right? So go ahead, explain the concept of a float tech.
So a float tech is someone that has absolutely no calls. They come in with 0 calls. That gives the dispatcher the opportunity to move certain calls to that individual. And now those clients that are calling in, those Service Plus members that are calling in, we're actually able to make a priority and get to them immediately. So it makes the flow of the board much, much nicer.
And the float tech, though, is not a late tech. The float tech comes in normal time.
Normal time has not 1 call on them.
And so if there's no calls that come in, but you have a technician that calls off, now you can move those calls right to that technician that has no calls.
Correct.
Right. Now, the whole float tech concept also has its snafus. So in your world of the CSR dispatch world, back in the day, what screws it up?
Dispatchers approving for somebody to book there. That screws it up. Because there's a call that comes in, we really need to get to it, so they say, okay, just put it on the float tech for tomorrow morning.
So when you say approving for somebody to book there, meaning before the day starts.
Correct.
Right? Or at least, like, if a call comes in the night before, like, you might put it on that guy. Right? But basically, we start Monday, we've got a float tech, let's say Thursday, that's free. Oh, Tuesday we come, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be 100 and hell outside on Thursday. Oh, great. Thank God we got the float tech. And you look, and they booked him solid. So he's no longer a float tech. I can't say no. Correct. Tech, right? He becomes the I can't say no tech. Again, no is a powerful word. I can't say no. Not so powerful. You know what's more powerful? I'll figure it out. Ma'am, I'll figure it out. Ma'am, let me get you scheduled. I'm going to go ahead and get you scheduled on the board. I do not have any availability right now, but I'm still going to schedule you, and I'm going to go to work to get you figured out and get a slot in. If I can't, I will call back and let you know. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to make this work. And then you book the call. But you don't put it on the float tech. No. Then you go to dispatch. Hey, dispatch, please don't be upset with me, but I just took a call. And I'm not putting it on the float tech because that's not what we do. But I put it down at the bottom of the board or wherever we put it, or I put it on Bobby, whatever. So when you see the double stack calls, it's because I took it. I told the homeowner I will get it handled. And then dispatcher will say, oh, why are you doing this? I tell you, you say 15. They're going to say, what? You say 15. And you're going to say, huh? You say, it's a 15-year-old unit. It's not cooling. Oh, okay, fantastic. Let me get this handled for you. Or main line. Huh? Main line. Who? Whose line? Main line. Oh, it's a main line. Oh, they have poops in their tub and in their sink, and they're supposed to be in the toilet. Okay, I'll get this figured out. We'll get somebody out there right away. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, this is the other thing is, and I know this is a little off, we're kind of getting off the float tech, but we'll get right back to it. Sometimes I do that. It's where my best work is done. Man, when somebody says, oh, we don't do that service, or we don't have any availability, or let me put you on hold for the next 7 freaking minutes while I figure things out. Instead, book the call. Listen, I don't know if any of you fish. I'm not like a big fisherman, but I do go fishing. I enjoy it. I was recently in Louisiana fishing on an Explore the Trades. Check out Explore the Trades. It's a fundraiser to bring awareness to the trades. That's a little plug there. Anyways, what I can't do is I'm trying to set a hook, reel fish in, and say, you know what? Let me let this fish roll on me and get off the hook. I don't really think this is what I want. I'll come back after him if there's no better fish out there, because I don't want to hit my limit with this fish. No. It doesn't work that way. Catch the fish, get it in the damn boat. You can always throw it back. All right? Now, don't keep it in the boat too long, then it dies. You can't throw it back then. Right? So, but catch the fish. Go to work on finding out if this fish is worth keeping or not. Or if you can keep it. If not, then throw it back. Same thing with customers. Look, don't decide that this is fish we don't need or we can't handle this fish. Bring the fish in the boat. Work with dispatch. Work with the management team. Work with the service manager. Find out. And then you can always call that customer back and say, you know what, Mrs. Jones, I did my best, but I just am not going to be able to get out to you on the time that I said we would be able to. I did my best. You know what? You may find that there's a lot of times that people feel so grateful that you went to work on their behalf and then you called them back and said, I can't do this. There's times that they actually say, you know what? I got some flexibility. What's the next time you have available? Let's just book it there. I think I'll be fine. Whatever it may be, right?
Right.
But don't decide you don't need the fish. Catch the fish. You can release it. Book the call. You can call back and cancel. But don't book the call on the float tech. Let me say that again. Don't book the call on the float tech. Unless you get approval from a manager, then book the call on the float tech. And if the manager's allowing you to do it because they can't say no, then, we got to talk to that manager. Give him my number. I'll be more than happy to talk to him. All right. But the float tech is a lifesaver, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And,
absolutely.
And the other thing is on a float tech, the float tech doesn't have to be a service tech. Doesn't have to be a maintenance tech. It can be whoever you want it to be. It could be somebody that just started running calls because you can move whatever calls you want to that individual. You can move calls off of a service tech that might be running a maintenance to that individual. So staggered tech if you need one. Float tech, I in the season, yes, 100%. Okay, you're that business. You've got 3 technicians. What do? Only book 2. Keep that one as a float, and now you'd be like, well, I can't have a float tech and a staggered tech. No, you really can't. So don't have a staggered tech. Have a float tech.
Right.
Maybe that float tech has 2 calls on him in the middle of the day, right? And he's free or she's free the first part of the day. So if somebody calls off, you move calls to that person. Or if a call comes in early in the morning, you have capacity, then they can run those calls, and then they're free later in the day so that they can pick up those calls. You're going to have to get a little bit more creative when you're at that point in your business where your capacity is limited and you can't really grow to the place you'd like to. So just keep that in mind. But the float tech, 100%. Also, keep in mind, you're a dispatcher. First of all, if you're a dispatcher, I hope your company has sent you out in the field to run calls with a technician. And if they have, I hope it hasn't been on a beautiful, breezy, balmy day. I have not done this, but I know some business owners who have, in the summertime, turned off the air conditioning in the business, in the call center and dispatch, and not told anybody. And then before you know it, everybody's sweating. It's hot. They're freaking out. And the owner comes in and says, oh, what's the matter? Well, oh my God, it's uncomfortable. I can't think. I can't this. I'm sweating. I can't see. The sweat's rolling in my eyes. Turns it back on and says, okay, now what do you think our technicians are going through? They're out in the field, but guess what? They're not sitting at a desk with a bunch of cushion under their rear. Right now, some of them are in attics laying on their side with insulation that somehow grows the capacity to find their butt crack and fall down their pants, right? They have sweat running in their eyes just like you do. In fact, they got sweat dripping onto their tablets and onto their notepads as well. So understand the technicians out in the field, regardless of the trade, they're in the elements. And being in the sun, especially when you put a pop-up up and get in the shade, can be better many times than being in the building without any air conditioning. So keep that in mind. So when you're pressuring a tech, they're not just attempting to run the call properly and hit all the steps and maximize customer satisfaction and value and generate revenue. They're also attempting to do it in very adverse conditions. So I always say you've got air traffic control and you've got pilots. Air traffic control can see things. Pilots can see things. Air traffic control can see things the pilot can't see. The pilot can see things air traffic control can't see. They have to respect that in each other, and they have to understand that if they're getting a directive from air traffic control, they need to follow it. Vice versa, if the pilot is requesting a change or is asking for a landing or something like that, they have to follow it and respect it, because both parties can see things the others can't. They're watching each other's back. They have the same mission, the same goal: get the passengers, the freight, whatever it is, to its destination on time safely. But they have different scopes and different visions and abilities and technology to accomplish that. So the biggest thing is they have to be able to listen to each other and trust each other. So technicians in the field and dispatch has to be able to listen and trust each other and understand we all have the same goal. We all want to take care of our customers. We all want to make money. We all want to build something great. We all want fulfillment. And we all want to go home to our families at the end of the day and have fun. So there's got to be this unison and this working together to accomplish that. So with that said, again, if you go on our website, thetradepreneurshow.com, I will have some handouts or downloads, I guess. Handouts is old school. Downloads. You'll be able to download some cheat sheets and some different things to help you navigate and understand these concepts a little bit better. Additionally, in the not too distant future, I'm going to start creating some tutorial content that you'll have access to. Short little videos of training and concepts and things like that, because there's only limited time in the podcast. I mean, I know I have a captivating voice, and you've watched me on YouTube. You might be like, wow, look at that guy. How can you have hair like that and be so pudgy? But, with that said, there's resources. I'm very passionate about the trades. I'm very passionate about business. I'm passionate about this podcast. I'm passionate about each of your success. Please, I appreciate any feedback, good feedback or bad feedback. I welcome it. I also really appreciate you supporting the show. Just by watching this, you're supporting it. So please share it, like it. Find us anywhere you can find podcasts, and we're on YouTube as well. So if you want to see my smiling face and Tanya's flowing locks, tune in to YouTube. Until next time, be great.